You're listening to Unmuted with Papamutes.
Favorite country that you've been to?
Oh, that's close to impossible because your state of mind is so different
Hmm.
every time you pack your bag. Um,
If you had to pick one or two or three.
I really love Greece.
Okay.
I really love Greece. There's just something, I don't know, there are just, you look at Greece and there are a billion colors of blue everywhere. And it's just, there's something in the air and the food is amazing. The people are amazing. And it's just really, really, I feel really good when I'm there. Indonesia as well. Maybe it's because I have roots there. My father was born there. Um,
Italy?
I'm going to stay there. It's hard because it wouldn't be fair actually.
No problem. Have you been to Italy?
Italy?
Mhm.
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah, there's a
yeah,
couple bucket lists for my wife and I. And actually, you mentioned you were Dutch, correct? Have you ever
yes.
been on a Holland cruise? Holland Cruise Lines? No.
Nope.
Anyway, not to go off on this, but we just came back from the Caribbean, and but Holland Cruise Lines has a what they call an orange night, where everyone dresses in orange, in reference to the Dutch
Uh-huh.
heritage or something. It has something to do with the Dutch. Anyway, so
Yeah.
I thought of that when you said that. I was
Yeah,
like,
our royal family, the last name of our royal family is of Orange.
oh,
And so our flag, it's a red, white and blue flag, but we have this string, or how do you want to call it, an orange string that comes off it as an extra decoration. And if it's the king's
okay,
birthday, I don't know if you've ever heard this, but this is the end of April. Like the entirety of the Netherlands is dressed in orange and just partying. I mean, if you
there.
go
That's
to
pretty much what it
Amsterdam,
was. Yeah, that was it was
yeah,
orange night, party
exactly.
night, and needless to say, I had a good time. Um,
Yeah, I bet.
uh, so you are a self-portrait photographer, correct?
Yeah,
So, I mean, I've seen the work. Obviously, I do my research, and the photos are beautiful. I mean, you're a beautiful woman to
thank
begin
you.
with. Um, but
Thanks.
are you only? I mean, is that it for photography, or do you like taking like when you're on these trips? I'm sure you got to photograph some stuff besides yourself. I'm assuming.
Yeah. Yeah, so I have another account on Instagram as well, which is called How It Is to Be You, and that's just me and my iPhone, but it's still me photographing things I find pretty when I'm traveling. And it's not very active, but that is
Mhm.
like my travel diary, and I do love it because I look at it and I look to all the places I've been, including the ones in the Netherlands, and it's just a really, yeah, it's a photo journal. It's great. And the self portraits, they sort of accidentally came about because I needed a portrait for the cover of my book. And a photo shoot I had done with a photographer, though the photos were amazing and beautiful, they didn't feel right for the book. And I figured, you know what, I sort of know how to operate a camera. Let's just try it myself. And then I just dove into this rabbit hole of self portraits. It became an
There's
obsession.
good stuff on there. Yeah.
So yeah, that's something I do now. But I'm also realizing that I really enjoy just bringing my camera, like the other day, to Amsterdam and making photographs in my style, which is a bit more impressionistic. It's black and white, very high contrast.
Hmm.
Um, of other places, and I like to go hiking, or at least in the Netherlands, it's just walking for a long time because, of course, there are no mountains. Um, but there are beautiful trees and beautiful landscapes, and I like taking photographs of those as well.
Yeah.
But the self portraits, it's kind of special because I've never been comfortable in front of a camera, so it adds a layer of learning as well for
So
me.
it opens you up. I know you mentioned that
Yeah.
photography has opened you up. Are you referring to the actual photographs themselves, or just everything in general? Because I have a photography background myself. Grabbed a camera in high school, that whole
Mm.
thing. Um, but is that the same for you? Are you opened up because you're okay with having your picture taken now, or just life in general? Because
I'm
photography
okay
can
with
take you
having my
around.
picture.
I mean, it could really.
It does, yeah. Though it's also it's kind of safe as well to hide behind that little lens. You're always the observer, never actually part, which is something I do enjoy. Um, but yeah, with self-portrait photography, it's it's weird, especially if you've never really been in front of a camera like I have. You want to make art and you want it to be beautiful, and I want to look beautiful, but I also want to be true to my inner artist. So I'm always trying to figure out, okay, what can I do? And what I really enjoy about the process is it's basically a moving meditation. So there's the makeup and the hair, and I have like stacks of fabrics that I tend to throw around, and there's just a lot of experimenting, and in that way it opens me up because I'm having fun and just making a mess in front of the camera. And then there's also the benefit of, now, of the 1,000 photos that I shoot in a session, maybe 100 are actually really nice.
Sure. Hmm.
So that's it's just a really great way to have a physical expression of what is inside of me. Because I write, there's just a lot of stuff in my head and a lot of me behind my laptop, and this is just really a way of me for me to step into my body and express myself in that way, which I never have, and that's just very special to me.
That's good stuff. I mean, I've seen the portfolio, or portfolio, if you will, on your site, and it's good stuff. It's great, awesome. Um,
Thank you.
not to get too heavy, but do you really realistically think that the world could be at peace? Every country could be at peace. I know it's a fantasy; everybody wants that, but do you realistically think that could happen?
I spend a year thinking about, okay, how do we make world peace possible? Literally, I wrote a manifesto and everything. It's hidden safely in my Google Drive somewhere. Um, because I burned out from it. Because I realized, okay, the answer to how do you make this happen? It's fairly simple. As in, if everyone would make the effort to not be an asshole, then the world will be better.
That'd be
If
great.
everyone would make an effort to wave goodbye to the bus driver when they get out, or just step aside on the pavement, or say, I don't know, at least not react in a negative way at certain things, then the world would be at peace. It's very simple because I know I can do it, and I'm also just me. But then you see behavior of people around you, and I'm not an idiot. I know that people are people.
Mhm.
So how do you change that behavior? And that's always where I get stuck. Because
It's rough out
where do
there.
you start? Okay, it starts with parents being very conscious of choosing to become parents, and then how they raise their children, and then there's the education, and then there's basic access to housing and healthy food and medical services and all that. So that you need the entire system for people to at least have a chance to be in a neutral state,
Right.
like not an asshole state. And maybe it's possible, but it's not going to happen in our generation, I'm afraid.
Uh,
So and maybe, and that's something that it's one of the reasons why I wrote contrast, is it's also human nature. I might not agree with it, but it is human nature. There is evil inside of us. There is the shadow part of humanity that we might not want to see, but it's undeniable, and it rears its head everywhere all the time. Um, and I don't know if your listeners are very spiritual or not. It doesn't really matter, but maybe the fact that we need to learn that those both contrasts exist,
mhm.
maybe that's the lesson we need to learn while we're here on this earth, whether that's a one-time thing or
Mhm.
or we come back a few